Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jai Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga, Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada. Jam Vishnupad Brahmans Parivraj Gacharya Stauddhar Sadhis Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Thai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtriki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, entitled Teachings of Queen Kunti, and text number 42. This is the second last verse of prayers by Queen Kunti, very important verse. Tvai me ananya vishaya Madir madhupate sakrat Ratim udbhata anandha Gange vogam mudanvati Tvai me ananya vishaya Madir madhupate sakrat Ratim udbhata anandha Gange Bhogam Mudanvadi. Ratim Udvahata Dadha Gange Bhogam Mudanvadi. Tvai me ananya vishaya Madir madhupade sakre Dimodvada dadha Gange Bhogam Mudanvadi. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Please repeat the translation. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Purport. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements, like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feeling of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord. In place of desire for sense gratification, the so called affection for family, society, country, etc., consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Arjuna desired not to fight with his brothers and relations just to satisfy his own personal desires. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord, and for his doing so, he became a famous devotee of the Lord. For it is declared in all the scriptures that Arjuna attained spiritual perfection by devotional service to the Lord in friendship. The fighting was there, the friendship was there, Arjuna was there, Krishna was there, but Arjuna became a different person by devotional service. Therefore, the prayers of Queen Kunti also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. Srimati Kunti wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. This unalloyed devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the something to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of range of devotional service, because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service of the devotee is more valuable than service of the Lord. But here the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relation. This tie of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya, because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. Relations of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul are factual relations. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. This relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via media of the relation with the super soul. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means to see the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. That is the way of devotional service. This is the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So Kunti Maharani, in the previous verse we saw that what she was praying was Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi Dadam Pandusu Vrishnishu. Her prayer was Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi. Pasham is the bond, the rope. So there is a tie of affection. She was praying that for all these family members. Pandusu and Vrishnishu. Pandu is like the husband side, and then Vrishnis are her side. So there is a natural affection for the families, this side and that side. So Kunti Maharani was considering that this affection for the family members is a hindrance for my devotion. So she was praying to Krishna, Sneha Basham Imam Chindi. Chindi means to cut off this tie of affection. So that was the prayer that we discussed in the previous verse. And then after that, she's saying not only that my prayer is as you cut off all affections, but what next? It's important, like sometimes people understand that I don't want this. That is what is, the scriptures explains Jnana Karma Anavradam. So karma is, their idea is that if I have this, if I get this, then I can enjoy. But then they advance a little bit through Karma Yoga, and then some knowledge comes. In the knowledge, they understand that none of those materialistic things can make me happy. So then they are situated in the knowledge that I don't want this, I don't want that. That is Jnani's path. That is in itself is not sufficient. The negation of the things is not sufficient. So along with what I don't want, knowing that what I don't want, you should also know what I want. That is more important. And that is when the Bhakti Yogi comes into play. So Bhaktas are not always, devotees are not always, behind, I don't want this, I don't want that. Yes, that is important. But our focus should be more on what I want. So Kunti Maharani, after praying that Sneha Basham Imam Chindi, cut the knot of this tie of affection, now what I want after that? It's just like, somebody understand that this job is not good for me. I want to resign from this job. So yes, you understand that it's not helping me. It is stressing me out too much. And I resign the job. But just by resigning the job, you are not going to be happy. You may be happy because the boss was not good, too much pressure, too much of anxiety. You feel little relaxed that I resigned the job. But it will not satisfy you. After a few days, you will start feeling bored. What to do now? No job. Earlier job was not good, I understood. I resigned. But there has to be some another job. Right? So that is what is the Kunti Maharani is praying here. Tvai me ananya vishaya matir madhu pate sakrit. Says, O my Lord, O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So this is what is the ultimate aspiration of a devotee. What devotee should want, what he should aspire. This is the aspiration that we can learn from the prayers of Kunti Maharani. That my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So, attraction constantly without being diverted to anyone else. That is the ultimate aspiration for any devotee. And Prabhupada starts the purport beautifully. Prabhupada says the perfection of pure devotional service is attained. When to attain pure devotional service perfection? When all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the perfection. All our attention. So, everything is about attention. Attention, where our attention goes. That is what is the entire practice of Krishna consciousness. That somehow or other we had to practice that. We can bring our attention back from so many other objects to Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying here that when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord, that is the perfection of pure devotional service. And that is what Kunti Maharani is saying. My attraction be constantly drawn unto you. So with the recent study of, some corporate, they have done this studies on the attention span. So what is the latest human attention span is? Anybody has any idea? It is 8 seconds. That is what is our attention span. So the lowest attention span was actually the goldfish. Like few years back, goldfish is one of the fish. It's only 9 seconds. Now humans have defeated goldfish also. They become number one in even that also. It is 8 seconds. Latest is 8 seconds. This is what is our attention span in this modern age. And Kunti Maharaj is praying, constant my attention should be there on Krishna. It's a big task, big challenge for all of us, especially in this modern age when we are constantly bombarded by so many different varieties of distractions in this modern age. Right? What are the distractions? Major distractions that we all face. What is that? Social media, right? These all digital distractions that has contributed to frequent interruptions in our daily life, especially all these notifications and all that. Now, a lot of studies shows that average length of time that people watch any video has significantly reduced, and that is how they introduced all these shorts and the reels and all that, because people can't even see the videos also. And they want the varieties. Every few seconds there should be another variety, and now that is resulting in spoiling our attention span even further, because there is a stimulus that next few seconds there should be some new variety, always looking for the varieties. So this is what is our current situation. This is what is our attention span. And Kunti Maharaj is praying here that let my attention, my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Right. So now another point that Prabhupada is bringing here. So what Kunti Maharaj is praying is, I don't want to even draw my attention to all my family members. Now this might sound very contradictory. Somebody say, no, but this is very impractical. How we can just avoid or ignore our family members, husband, wife, kids and all of that. So Prabhupada clarifies here. Prabhupada says, to cut off the tie of all other affection does not mean complete negation of the finer elements. The symptoms of life such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, etc. cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. So yes, that will be there. Attraction, affection for the family members will definitely be there. But then objective has to be changed. How do we understand this? How to change the objective? If somebody is the wife and the kid and husband or someone, how to change the objective? If I have some affection towards my family members, then how to change the objective? So Prabhupada actually explained that also. But before that I'll read few more lines. Prabhupada says, desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. So desire cannot be changed. There has to be some desire. There has to be some affection. That is the symptom of life. Otherwise you will become like a dead matter. The table, the stone, they cannot have affection towards particular. Oh, this person is sitting on the chair, so very affectionate towards this person. Chair becomes affectionate. It cannot. So human beings, when the life is there, then these are the symptoms of life. So desire cannot be negated. So that is not the idea. But desire can be purified. Right? So there actually, when we talk about the desire, this is interesting phenomena, because everything is again about desires only. So many different ways of dealing the desires. Different kinds of desires can be handled differently. So some desires has to be neglected completely or avoided. Like for example, what kind of desires has to be neglected and avoided? What is that? Regulative principles. Something which is like sinful, breaking the regulative principles. Somebody that desire, oh, I want to taste alcohol or something like that. Those kind of desires has to be neglected completely, right? So you can understand, like say you bring some apple, like whole lot of apples are there. So in that, some apples has to be discarded. Which apples? The apples which is rotten already. That has to be thrown, completely throw them off. So this is the desire which are all sinful desires, has to be completely neglected. Now another desire that has to be purified. Some desires has to be purified. How to purify? Like say, or you can say that some desire has to be dovetailed. For example, somebody has a desire that I want to become a rich man. So shall we say that you should not have that desire to become rich? That is not our philosophy. So become rich man, but you dovetail that desire that I'll become rich and then I'll use that richness or that wealth in the service of the Lord. So those desires can be dovetailed. So some desires can be neglected or thrown off. Some desires can be dovetailed, purified. Right? It is just like in the apple. Some apples are rotten. Some apple is there's some small some patch is there, some little black patch. So you just little remove that and still you can use that. Right? So all these patches are there in our life. We are not like pure apple, white apple. Little patches are there. Some desires are there, desires for the family, desires for some money or something like that. That can be dovetailed. So it cannot be negated. But Kunti Maharani is talking about the pure devotional service wherein everything should be, let my attention be drawn unto Krishna only. There's no room, no scope for anybody else. Then where the family members will go? What will happen to them? So Prabhupada explains in the same purport. Two things he explains. First he says, the so-called affection for family, society, country, etc. consists of different phases of sense gratification. So all this affection for family, society and all this, it is sense gratification only. So sense gratification is not about just sense enjoyment like gross sense enjoyment. Even the affection for the family members, family, society and all of those things is also considered as sense gratification. This is little extended sense gratification. Aham mameti. Aham is like very gross. Mameti is little extended. But it is all sense gratification only. So Prabhupada says, when the desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called a devotional service. Now Prabhupada is explaining here. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service. This is the clue. This is the answer. Says her affection for the Pandavas and Vrishnis is not out of range of devotional service. So even having affection for the family members, serving them, taking care of them, also can be within the range of devotional service. So it is not like that family, the affection for the family is always opposite or against the devotional service. So Kunti Maharani's affection for the family members is not out of range of devotional service because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service of the devotee is more valuable than service of the Lord. So it is all about consciousness. This affection is for what? My family, my husband, my kids, my. That me and mine. That is the problem. That is the objection. Based on, Prabhupada is saying, the skin disease. That is the objection. The affection in itself is not a problem. There has to be affection. We are not a dead matter. But affection based on what? What is the ground for that affection? Is a question should be asked. Right? So that affection is on the basis of the skin disease. That my family, my bacha, my husband. That is what is condemned here. So Kunti Maharani was considering herself that my affection for my family members are based on all this family relation. So I don't want all this affection also. Sneha pasham imam chindi. I want only my attention be drawn unto you. So, and Prabhupada is saying here that serving the devotees is also within the range of, it is identical serving the Lord. So when we have the affection, and it is naturally there, like even in the Grasta life, even in the ashram life also, like in the brahmacharis also, there might be some affection for some particular devotee, some chemistry matches with some devotees. Sometimes it doesn't match. You say, I like this devotee. My frequency matches with this devotee. So is it wrong? Answer is yes or no. Question should be asked. That attraction is for what? Oh, I like this devotee because, like yesterday also Prabhupada explaining, no? Amatanjan Prabhu, that because this devotee is so nice friend of mine, he helps me. He supports me in my sense gratification. He never says no for anything. I say, oh, Prabhuji, let us go and do something. He never objects. But that other devotee will ask me 10 questions. Why you want to do this? I don't like the devotee. So if that is the kind of affection and then friendship in the devotee community, just to, gratify each other's senses, then that is a hindrance. So Kunti Maharani, that kind of affection and attraction should be cut off. Sneha bhasham imam chindi. Otherwise, there has to be attraction. There has to be affection with the devotees. Last time also we were discussing that famous verse, very powerful verse from what is that? Devbhuti. Kapila Muni was explaining. Anybody remembers? What was that verse? Prasangam majaram basam atmana kavayo vidu. Sayav sadhu sukrito. Moksha dwaram apavratam. So you say prasangam ajaram pasam. Everybody is sangam. Because of that, sangam means attachment is the cause of bondage. Pasham in this world. Any kind of attachment in this world is the cause of bondage. But if the same attachment is applied to sa eva sadhu sukrito, to a sadhu, to a pure devotee, if we can develop that attachment to a devotee, pure devotee, then moksha dwaram apavratam. The same attachment becomes the cause of your liberation. So it depends on what kind of attraction, what kind of attachment it is. So if it is based on the skin disease, then bondage. But if it is on a spiritual platform, so in a family, we can see that, okay, all my family members, we are all devotees. We are actually together, worshipping, serving the Lord. And this is my duty to serve the devotees also. So serving the Lord does not exclude serving the devotees. It is very much there. So the affection, the serving, the attraction for the family members can be within the range of devotional service. So that is what is the understanding here. Okay. So Prabhupada is bringing here this thing. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted toward the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this is the perfection, that how to bring our attention completely 100% towards Krishna. So that should be our aspiration always, right? Prabhupada says, if we think we can be attached to Krishna and material things at the same time, we are mistaken. We cannot ignite a fire and at the same time pour water on it. We do, fire will not act. So say a little bit of Krishna consciousness, little bit of so many other different varieties of consciousness. Like the what example comes to my mind is, it might sound a very weird example, but it makes the point very clear. Like a woman says that, you are my husband. For 360 days I am completely surrendered to you. But 5 days I want to go around. It doesn't work. Right? So the devotee's consciousness should be Gange Bhoga Mudanvati, constantly flowing. Ganga, the mother, the river Ganges, constantly flowing toward the sea. Not like in between, let me just go other direction. The constantly our attention should be drawn unto Krishna. That should be the aspiration. And an example is given in the scripture is, the best examples of this is the gopis. The gopis' attention, constant attention towards Krishna. And that is why even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he glorifies the gopis of Vrindavan. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he was a sannyasi, he would not even go close to any women, not even look at them. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying these women because they are pure devotees. Their attention is like that. So this is what it is. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Anavradam. There should not be any other abhilasha. There should not be any other desire. Our attention should not go anywhere. That is called Ayatuki Apratihata. Apratihata means uninterrupted. There will not be any interruption in our consciousness. So there is this beautiful verse which glorifies this gopis of Vrindavan. Look at that, we can learn from them that how their attention is constantly on Krishna. So this verse, it is in the 10th canto, 44th chapter, text number 15, he says, Ya dohane abhanane mehatano uplepa preinke anka arbha rudidokshana marjanadau gayanti chayanam anurakta diyo ashrukantayo dhanya striya urkrama chittayanaha. So he says, ya means these gopis, dohane, when they are milking the cows, and then avahanane, thrashing, mathane means churning, uplepa, in the villages they do this, smearing the cow dung, lepan, uplepa, pranka, the swinging, and then arvarudita means taking care of the crying babies, rudita, when babies are crying they are taking care of them, ukshana, sprinkling, marjana, cleaning, adav, so on. What they are doing while doing, they are engaged in so many household activities. What they are doing is gayanti chayenam anurakta. They are gayanti chayenam, about him. Constantly they are singing. Why? Anurakta, because there is a anurakta. They are very much attached to Krishna. So while they are doing all those things, they are not able to forget Krishna. So that is what exactly the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. What he says? What is the famous verse, famous instruction in this connection? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives. Anuvalenu Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction says, Sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuman manobir. That sthane sthita, that you be situated wherever you are. You are a grasta, you are a working person, whatever you are. Sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvan manobir. Tanu, van, mano. Tanu means body, one means your words and mind. Your body, words and mind. Manasa, karmana, vacha should always be engaged. You need not to change that from household life you have to become a sannyasi. Then only you will be able to do. So that is what these gopis are doing. They are all householders. They are taking care of the family, crying kids, so many other household duties. But they are constantly what they are doing. Gayanti chayana manurakta dhiyo shrukantayo dhanya vrajastriya urukrama chittayanaha. So dhanya vrajastriya, dhanya ho, not vrajastriya, all these gopis. So this is what is the constant attention, affection, and that is the power. This constant attention is like a magnifying glass. If you put a paper in the sunlight whole day, many days, nothing happens. It will just get heated up. But if you take a magnifying glass over the paper, and when the sun rays go through that magnifying glass, it can burn the paper. So this is the power of the constant attention. We are little heated up, like we are under sunlight. So we are practicing something with, devoted attention. So we are getting little heated up, but we want to burn. So that burning will happen by this magnifying glass of constant attention. Right? What is another example that we can think of constant attention? Famous example from the Bhagavatam. There might be many examples. And what comes to your mind? Parikshit Maharaj, he says that go on telling. He is not feeling hungry. He was not feeling thirsty. And he was telling him, don't think that I am tired. Please continue. So much attention, so much absorption. Another example is Prahlad Maharaj. Nothing could deviate him. Despite all the challenges, all the difficulties, he is constantly remembering the Lord. Right? In fact, Hiranyakashipu was asking him that where is Krishna? Where is your Lord? What was the answer Prahlad Maharaj says? In response, he says where he is not. Right? So his attention is like he can see everywhere. So that is the consciousness that devotee aspire to develop. Right? Prabhupada writes beautifully in one place. He says, actually there is no other consciousness but Krishna consciousness. In fact, Prabhu was also explaining 2 days back. What is saying? Consciousness means Krishna consciousness. Example is sunshine. There cannot be shine without sun. There cannot be consciousness without Krishna consciousness. So there is no other consciousness but Krishna consciousness. And that consciousness is spiritual. Thus, even while in this material world, if we simply increase our Krishna consciousness, we shall live in the spiritual world. So this is the secret revealed. Sthane sthita shruti gadam tanuvan manohar. We can be in this material world, engaged in household duties, so many other works, but if we develop this consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then we shall live in a spiritual world. If we live in the temple, we live in the spiritual world. Because in the temple, there is no business other than Krishna consciousness. A very important point. Prabhupada is saying, if we are living in the temple, we are living in the Vaikuntha. But there is an asterisk mark here. It is not just mere living in the temple building, temple facility. Prabhupada is saying clearly, there is no other business other than Krishna consciousness. Now, what is temple then? It explains. Temple is not just a building that you come in that facility and you say, now I am living in Vaikuntha. Temple is that consciousness. So you can be in this world as a household, having affection with the family and everything. But Krishna consciousness, then you are in temple. And it means you are living in Vaikuntha. There are so many engagements carried out for Krishna. Those who strictly follow the regulations of Krishna consciousness actually live in the spiritual world, not the material world. We may think we are living in New York, Los Angeles or elsewhere, but we are actually living in Vaikuntha. So we can live in Vaikuntha. We are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada further writes, he says, it's a question of consciousness. And then Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. Nice example. We have discussed many times. I'll read this. Prabhupada says, a bug may sit on the same seat with the spiritual master. But because the spiritual master has developed consciousness and the bug does not, they are different. They may be sitting in the same place, but the bug remains a bug and the spiritual master remains the spiritual master. The position in space may remain the same, just as we remain in the material world or the spiritual world. But if our consciousness, our Krishna consciousness is strong, we are not in the material world. So if we develop that consciousness, constant attention towards Krishna, then while we are living in this material world, we can transport ourselves to a spiritual world. That is the power of this undivided attention which the Kunti Maharani is aspiring. And that should be the aspiration of all the devotees. Right? Very important thing. Okay, let us just do some little exercise here to kind of check our memory and understanding from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna talks about this consciousness. Many places, but we'll just talk about few verses. What comes to your mind? Where Krishna says, Tvai me ananya vishaya. Ananya. Where is that Ananya that Krishna is talking? Yes, Ananyas chintayanto mam. That is the famous verse. That if you have the constant chintayanto mam, always thinking of me, then Krishna says, I'll take care. Yogakshemam vahamyam. What else? So this is one verse. That is 9.22. What else? Where is Ananya in that? Sarvashacham is a different verse. It's like I am seated in everyone's heart and Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto. Always think of me. Yes, that is the conclusive message of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. We can say that. Always think of me. What else? Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakriti mashrita bhajati ananya manaso. The devotees, Mahatmas, what they do? So that is the definition of a devotee. The Mahatma. What they are doing? Bhajati ananya manaso. They are always engaged in bhajati ananya. So yes, that is also Krishna explains. Who is saying? What is that? Yat karosi yadasnasi is more of like karma yoga. We are more specifically talking about that ananya. What else? Maybe two more verses. Okay, one verse I'll tell that all of you know. One verse I'll tell, which you might not know, not very commonly quoted. So another verse is Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. So Krishna is saying, if somebody is ananya bhak, constantly bhajate mam ananya bhak, then if he is suduracharo also, sadureva mantavya. So see how that if we develop that consciousness of ananya, Krishna is saying, I'll take care of you, Kshemam Vahamyam. Devotees are Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. And then Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhak. What else? One more verse. Famous verse. Very important, very powerful verse. Okay, I'll just tell this. I think you may not come to that. So Krishna says this verse. He says, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smriti Nityataha Tashyaham Salva Partha Nityayukta Nityayuktasya Yogina. So this is also very important words what Krishna is saying. This is 8.14. So Krishna says, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smriti Nityasaha. Ananya Cheta. To that person what will happen? Tashyaham Sulabha Partha. Partha I am easily. Sulabh means very easily. Tashyaham Sulabha Partha. I am easily reachable to person whom Ananya Cheta Satatam. So we can get Krishna very easily by this consciousness which is Ananya Cheta. And that is what Kunti Maharani is praying here. Toi me Ananya Vishya Matir Madhupate Sakrit. So this is what is the aspiration of the devotee. So we'll conclude with this last point here. How to bring that? What are the practical ways to bring this consciousness? How to bring that attention? Constant attention. 100% attention. What is the key? What is the clue? Always engage. Many times we are always engaged, but consciousness is somewhere. Though we are engaged, we should definitely always engage, but still consciousness may not be there. Yes. Okay, so when we chant, but a little more specific, how to bring that? We chant every day, we are chanting, but our consciousness is not there in the holy name also. That's the whole idea, like Prabhu explained, no? Chant and then hear the very same sound as Prabhupada says. But we are hearing so many minds chatter, right? How to bring that consciousness? Pray to the Lord. What else? Surrounded by the devotees all around. We are already surrounded. Then we start finding fault with the devotees only. Dangers are there. Keep listening, keep hearing something. Yes, we are coming closer, but very specific answer. Chant loudly. We are talking about how to develop that, how to bring that attention. Okay, the knowledge. Okay, you are coming a little more closer. Okay, my understanding, my answer is this. All the answers are right only, but we are trying to come to some point which can help us to develop this. Is first we should understand that in general where our attention goes always. That is the question. Where your attention goes. So the tendency is attention goes where there is attraction. And so for example, if you see a young boy, there is a natural attraction for a young girl. Right? He just listens some sound, chan chan something. Immediately the attention goes. Who's this? This is natural. So naturally your attention goes in something where there is a attraction. Right? Now where is your attraction? You are supposed to have the attraction towards Krishna. But now our current situation is, it is not. We have attraction towards so many other things. So how the attraction comes? Attraction comes in so many different ways it can come. But one way to develop the attraction is by hearing. Like the example is given when sometime people hear about some place, like people in India, they hear about a lot of glories about America. So America is like that and this and so many things. Then there is a desire, there is some attraction comes. Oh, I also want to go there. Then the people start thinking, when would I go? When would I go? So when we keep hearing about Krishna, that hearing will result in developing some attraction towards Krishna, right? And when that attraction comes for Krishna, then automatically your attention will go there. So that is why we have to hear. Hear what? Hear the holy name when we chant. That is why again and again, we are asked that, okay, chant and hear, chant and hear, chant and hear. That is what will happen. When we hear, it will develop. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna mantra, one can develop the love of God. That is the power of hearing. So we should focus on hearing. And not only the chanting, but when we hear, like say, Gita, Bhagavatam, when we are reading or hearing, we should try to hear attentively. And gradually something will come, some attraction will come in our heart. Now question is, how to develop the attraction for hearing? That is the last part of today's discussion. And the answer lies in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, the series of verses with the famous verses. What is that verse? Krishna, no. I'm talking about how to develop the taste for hearing. We discussed about the attention, how it will come is by attentively hearing. But now there's no taste, that is why when we don't hear, sitting for hearing, but we are thinking so many things. So there is no taste for hearing itself. When we start hearing, then only the taste or the attention will go towards Krishna. We will develop the attraction. How to develop the taste for hearing? Okay, what is that verse? The answer is right. Specific verse. Okay, the verse is very famous verse. It says, Sususho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. So what is the key is given? The secret is revealed. Bhagavatam. Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra. Mahat Seva. Mahat Seva means the seva to a pure devotee. Who is Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Who is Punya Tirtha, is very pure soul. Then somebody serves that pure devotee, then what happens? Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. The Ruchi will come, taste will come, interest will come in Vasudeva Katha. And Prabhupada beautifully explains in this purport, this verse purport. Prabhupada says that many people doesn't know this science. Prabhupada says, when you serve someone, the qualities of that person comes into you. That is the power of service. When you do seva to someone, those qualities will come unto us. So when we serve a pure devotee, then all those qualities of a pure devotee will also come unto us. And one of the quality of a pure devotee is he has a taste, naturally a great taste for hearing, talking about Krishna Katha. So when we serve the pure devotee by following the instruction, then we will develop the taste for hearing Krishna Katha. When we hear Krishna Katha attentively, that will result in developing some attraction for Krishna. And when there is attraction for Krishna, and when there is attraction, attention flows there. So then attention will come, and that is what the Kunti Maharani is praying here. Tvai me ananya vishayamati madhupate sagrit. So this ananyamati will develop just by serving pure devotee, by hearing attentively. So if we follow sincerely our morning program, chanting, attentively hearing, Bhagavad Gita class, Kirtan, Bhagavatam class, Kirtan, everything is all about hearing only. So attentively we keep hearing, keep paying our attention there, gradually this consciousness will develop. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts on this verse. We'll stop here unless anybody has any question or any comment. Anyone wants to add something? Yes. Yeah, so question is, we are already serving Prabhupada's mission, then why it is all not coming? कैसे आएगा? Some limited consciousness there, why not fully? So the point is, we should understand that we are serving, but our serving is also not like, what do you say, pure devotional service like Prabhupada says. We have so many other things are also along with our seva bhav. There is some other bhav also, which might be sometimes very gross, sometimes it can be little subtle. Some puja, pradishta, labha, and these are all real subtle things that sometimes we don't even understand that it is there. And I want to become number one, something, Gausevak, number one Gausevak, for example. We may not say all those things, but we take some rasa in that, something like that. So we hold back onto our own ideas, our own desire, something. So say 90% we might be doing as what has been asked, but some percent we hold back. That is where we stuck. But anyway, we are serving Prabhupada, though it is not at this stage very pure. It is not a pure devotional service. It's a mixed devotional service. That is why we are able to sustain. Otherwise, we are living in Krishna conscious life. No movies, no parties, no friends, no outside Ghana Pina, and all that. Every day morning get up, chanting and all that. How it is happening? It is happening because we are serving a pure devotee, and pure devotee is Kripa. As Prabhupada is explaining, right? It's all happening by the Kripa. So Kripa is also flowing, but then Kripa is also reciprocal. To the degree our endeavors are pure, to that degree the Kripa also flows. So when our endeavors are like completely pure, then 100% Kripa will come, and by that Kripa, that attraction and the attention will also come. So this is the process. So we are going through this process. Gradually we are developing some attention. We cannot say that we don't have any attention, we don't have any attraction. We have something. Why it is there? Because we are serving Prabhupada, pure devotee. So whatever we have, that is coming not because I understood something. It is all by the Kripa. And then in the course we will get more purified, and then more Kripa will come, and then more attraction and attention will come. It will come. That is already the process of sadhana bhakti. By the sadhana bhakti, we will gradually progress towards the raganuga bhakti. That is the process recommended in the scriptures. Yeah, that is why we have to come to that level of doing regular sadhana. There is no shortcut. We cannot say that I am not able to do, but still I want. It doesn't work like that. So at least when we discuss all those things, it helps us to develop the desire. Okay, I should become more fixed up in my sadhana, or whatever is recommended. So gradually we improve, we take help. At least to realize that I am not fixed up itself is a stepping stone towards going. Okay, it should result in I should become more fixed up in my sadhana, so that I can become more serious and sincere. So these are the things that we should work on. Yeah, so it is not about just thinking that I want to do, I want to do, I want to do. Take some action. The action can be some baby step, something. So you figure out what can be that action, or you are not able to figure out, then take the guidance from more experienced people. They'll tell you, okay, do this. And when the guidance comes, then follow that. That much sincerity we have to show. No, I am not able to do, somebody is telling I'll not follow, but still I want. Then it's a waste of time and energy for everyone. So if we are really sincere, then you try. If you feel yourself helpless, take guidance, and when guidance comes, push yourself little bit. Some pushing is needed always. Prabhupada says that in one place. Prabhupada says that my spiritual master pushed me, and I am pushing all of you. We are pushing movement. You know. So we are pushing movement. So either you voluntarily allow someone to push you, so little push is needed in life, or you push yourself. We cannot be in comfort zone and expect the results. It doesn't work like that. Little pushing is needed. Okay, let's stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada